Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking all about what to expect at WWDC 2015. I don't know whether or not I should be proud or embarrassed that I'm using a selfie stick to shoot this video. So I know it's been a while since I posted some content. I have been on emergency leave and I just happened to come back at one of the busiest times in technology, starting off with Worldwide Developers Conference, an event held every year by Apple for developers primarily and of course journalists alike, where they release early teases of their updates to their operating system, both mobile and desktop, and other announcements so that developers can start essentially ramping up production and development for the next update. So what can you expect? Here's a rundown of what to expect at this year's conference. And keep in mind, as every year, as tradition, I will be covering in a live stream with my good friend Mobile Phone 2003, Duncan, tonight, 2 a.m. for me. It's less than 24 hours from now. So you can watch that live stream actually here on the YouTube channel. So be sure to check out that event down below in the video description. All right, so the rundown. iOS 9, OS 10, 10.11, we'll be hearing updates about those and short teases of what to expect with that. Streaming music service that's been highly talked about. Updates to iTunes Radio, Apple Watch updates, and the Apple Pay system and some updates regarding that. So those are really the main 6 things I think we're going to really hear about in this WWDC conference. It's more centered on software updates and updates to existing product lines, not so much any new hardware being announced. There was a lot of talk about the Apple TV, but as far as reports have been up to this point, it looks like it's not quite ready for production and the updates that they're going to be doing there, so I doubt we'll hear anything about that. I think that Apple will just save that for a later announcement. That being said, iOS 9, it's not a major update. The same with OS 10, 10.11. We have, Mavericks, we've had Yosemite, and now we'll be having whatever, California location they decide to name this one. But these aren't major iterations. Of course, they have really great features built into them, but they're more stability, security fixes. A lot of great security stuff is being built into these. But iOS 9 is getting, the traditional bug fixes, updates, stability features, stability updates. But I think the biggest thing that's been talked about with iOS 9 is this feature known as Proactive. It's going to completely replace your Spotlight search, when you swipe down to search for an app or whatever. It's going to be a much more smarter search that's going to be integrated into iOS 9. And it's going to be proactive in the sense that it looks at how you use your device daily. Let's say you check your tweets a lot in the afternoon or every morning you read your email. It's going to recognize that pattern and try to give you updates and stuff tailored to how you use your device. So things that you'd be more interested based on the apps and way you use your device. Additionally, we're going to see some home updates in the whole home automation thing that they announced previously. I think that was last year. So it's said to integrate with Siri much more better in that they can, essentially it's just going to be a way for you to tie into all these home automation devices and stuff that's being released. Maybe we'll hear about some health kit stuff because that's been something they've been really promoting. But again, just minor updates as far as the surface of iOS 9, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. It's going to directly tie in with, of course, OS 10, 10.11. That's going to be receiving some major security fixes. A new kernel is supposedly in talks to be integrated within OS 10, making it much more secure. And of course, that's always great things to hear that are going on behind the scenes. Now, as far as features and what we will get personally as users, there is talks about Control Center being brought from iOS to OS 10, and this is a part to unify. They always try to unify the two so that if you're an iOS user, you use an iPad, use an iPhone, an iPod, you're very familiar on the OS 10 or vice versa if you're using a MacBook or what have you. Control Center, obviously, swipe up, get all those toggles, get access to your Wi-Fi controls, music controls. There's talk about this being integrated into OS 10 with how they do kind of mission control right now, allowing you to access your desktop and all those great stuff at a glance. Control Center would do the same thing, giving you quick toggles to certain things, controlling iTunes, things of that nature, all in one place. Now, aside from that, we're going to hear about the Apple Music Streaming Service. They bought Beats Music Streaming Service not too long ago, and it's been highly anticipated that they're going to be releasing it to compete with services like Spotify, and now even Tidal, Jay-Z's Hi-Fi music streaming service. It's said to come out at a $10 price point, $10 a month, and compete directly against those competitors. And seeing as Apple controls one of the biggest music services out there, iTunes, if they can get the right partnership and deals, this can be a really big deal in the whole streaming service. There's also talks about iTunes Radio being hyped up. iTunes Radio has existed for quite a bit now. Basically, it's a way for you to stream radio channels via iTunes. But they've been in talks with artists like Pharrell and Drake, who are supposedly gonna help hype it up by DJing and streaming their own channels essentially via the iTunes Radio. I don't know whether or not this is going to be something that they integrate directly with their streaming music service. I think that's the best route, taking iTunes Radio and combining it with their Apple Music streaming service or whatever they're going to be calling it. But yeah, they're getting artists and big figures to hype it up. The Apple Watch. So it's received mixed reviews. It's a first-gen product, the smartwatch that Apple has created. And there's already going to be updates for it. So as of right now, the Apple Watch, the way it works, is it needs an iPhone to pair directly with it to send over the apps and so on and so forth. You need to install the apps via the phone. But there's talk that they're going to be finally releasing the native SDK software development kit to allow developers to develop for apps that will work natively on the watch itself, not needing the phone to essentially pair to work together. So this is obviously something that, you know, was much needed, and whether or not they could do it at the release of the Apple Watch, who knows, but we will be seeing it most likely at this event and hearing all about it, and of course being pushed out there into the wild for the developers to do what they'll do with it. Last but not least, Apple Pay update. So Apple Pay is their system that allows you to use your iOS devices that support it, mainly the iPhones right now, and the Apple Watch device, of course, that allow you to pay via NFC, essentially swiping over a reader that will allow you to pay outright. And this is on the rise, you know, with Google and Android even adopting this, their own payment system. This is something that we're seeing widespread. They have a lot of providers, convenience stores, and major retailers supporting this system now, and I'm actually seeing it being used in the wild. So it's something that's going to be definitely on the rise over the next couple of years. And what they want to do with Apple Pay, much like a credit card or even like a flight mileage system, they want to release a rewards program, so an incentive to use the Apple Pay system. And, you know, we're giving you points or whatever, with however they're going to do it, giving you rewards. Basically, they're going to touch up on that to, again, incentivize more and more users who have these built into their iOS devices or their smartwatch to start using the Apple Pay system. Personally, I'm most excited about the streaming service announcement. I've been testing out Spotify, Tidal, to kind of see which one I'm going to end up sticking with, and now I guess I have to add the Apple Music streaming service into the mix. So there's a lot of stuff as far as updates, software updates, possible SDKs that are going to be announced at this event. So that being said, what are you most excited to hear about at the WWDC event, if anything? Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't care at all. Leave it down in the comments below. Love to hear what you think. And of course, you can join us live covering the Worldwide Developers Conference. If you want to tune in, I'll leave a link to the live stream down below. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you aren't for more content coming out in the future. And I will catch you all in the next video.